Okay, so welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I came on. I have been doing my thing, like nothing terrible, just I was kind of wrapped up in some personal stuff, nothing bad. Well, I'm back and I am going to be reviewing a viral story that is on TikTok with the trophy wife and basically what happened with her situation. And so let's get into it. I also want to talk about things that we could like take away from this experiences and my point of view on it. So let's get into it. I've been really wanting to cover this story. Mind you, I'm going to try my best to be as sensitive as possible because it does involve essay like on young kids, so this is something that I want to be very sensitive on. So let's get into it. So she is, and someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but she is a viral YouTuber and TikToker. I believe she does have a TikTok where she has a lot of following on YouTube, and she usually gives advice to young women that want to be hypergamous and date men of means. She usually gives advice on dating, on how to meet these men, or how you have to act as a woman, or I saw one video on hygiene as well. She gives all type of advice. I did see her come across my YouTube feed before, but I never really watched her videos like that because I don't really like too much advice videos. In my opinion, I don't really like too much advice videos. I feel like it's just a lot. I like to kind of just go by the beat of my own drums. I do listen to Shira though. I follow Shira. I've been listening to her for years, but that's the most. Shira and maybe Coco. If you know, you know. I love her, but that's the most. I don't really like to go hardcore with the advice videos because it's like at some point you gotta be yourself and you gotta take crumbs from like what people are saying. That's what I try to do. I try to take the things that are important, vital information, and try to implement it into my life. So yeah, let's listen to a little bit of her life and how she met him.
Ladies, welcome back to the new trophy wife. Today I'm going to be sharing my story with you guys about how I went from being a single mom to a spoiled housewife in less than 1 year, and you can too. So I had my first child when I was 17 years old. I intentionally got pregnant with my boyfriend at the time and basically turned into a child.
I'm not one to judge the way people live their life, but it's already off to a rough start with her story. But I mean, hey, there are people that like to just pop out kids, but I feel like that's one of the worst things that you could do, unless I'm traditional, but not that traditional. Unless that guy has money and you're getting a hefty sum in child support, I don't see the point in popping out kids. It don't make no sense.
I, a few years later, had my second child. So after having two children and being a single mom, I think that my self-esteem was definitely low.
So often in women that are really pretty, it's like they just choose guys like, I don't know why, they just choose not that great guys. And they're just so gorgeous. But oftentimes you see this, especially if you've like had a certain type of childhood, or you didn't get attention as a kid, or you've been to some type of abuse or trauma. This tends to happen. You want that validation outside of yourself and you want it from someone else. So that tends to happen, and it really is sad, but I see it a lot. And even myself, I was like that for a little bit, but then I started to kind of gain my power back, gain my control back over my life. Like, I can't even really judge her because I was like that in my really early 20s.
About the kind of men that I was choosing, it definitely was a reflection of my lower self-esteem. I think that growing up, I was not taught the kind of men that I should be looking to attract and be in a relationship with. My mom drilled into me, oh, go with the man that's going to be the best for you. And I think society drilled into me to go after the thug, the street dude, the swag type dude, or whatever you want to call it. But neither one of those was the best approach to going about dating and attracting a husband.
That's true. I got so much advice from people about go with the nice guy, go with the guy that treats you nice. I'm talking about in my earlier 20s when I didn't have a mind of my own. Go with the guys that treat you nice. And now I would date these guys that treated me somewhat nice, and they were assholes. Assholes and broke. Might as well I just went with the rich asshole. It makes no sense. Younger girls, that prefrontal cortex is not really developed yet. I'm not going to say that's for all the young girls, but that is for a lot of young girls. So we kind of do these type of things, don't really have a mind of your own, taking advice from anyone, when you really should just be trusting yourself and listening to your gut and what you feel deep inside.
So after having my second child, I was working hard. I was making really good money. I think I was making about maybe 90K at the time, which for me as a 24-year-old woman was good. I thought I was doing good. I had my own plates. I owned my car. I was very self-sufficient, all about the mindset of, oh, I can do it by myself. I don't need a man, as so many of us modern women say, you know, I can do it all by myself. And I soon realized after one Christmas of it just being me and my two boys that I wanted a family.
Having a family thing, and I see that with a lot of women that are single mothers. They have the family, it breaks up, and then they feel incomplete, and they need to make it complete again, and that is like getting married. So that's where you see that pressure comes in, and especially in the Black community where you got that pressure to complete your family, and then on top of that, single mother stigma is even worse. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be a stigma on being the parent. There shouldn't be a stigma on being on by that stayed. The stigma should really be on the man that left, even though there is kind of a stereotype, but the stigma is really strong and wrong in the Black community, and it affects a lot of women that have children that are single mothers. I feel like I've seen it.
Learning quickly that everything that glitters is not gold, I happened to come across Shira7 on YouTube, and she completely changed my life. And she basically taught me what a high value man is and what to look for when trying to find a husband. So I ended up taking my sister's advice and signing up for eHarmony. I think the second person that I matched with was the man that I'm married to now, my husband. And it was very different. My husband and I have a 20-year age gap, and he was not the first older man that I dated. So when I met my husband, I knew right away almost, and people say that, but it was definitely true. I know it sounds cliche. Just from our first date, it just felt natural. I felt like I just had known this person already. It was so comfortable. So we went to a really nice seafood restaurant, and it was great. It was an amazing first date. And mind you, I think we both were kind of just dating different people at the time, and that's definitely something that I recommend if you're looking to, you know, find a husband. It's not just dating one person at a time. It's not good to put all your eggs in one basket, but we had a great first date, and I think he ended up asking me to be his girlfriend on the first date, and I said I would think about it. I'm not just going to agree to be your girlfriend just after meeting you, because I know that you just want me to be your girlfriend so that you can get in my pants. So I didn't agree, and we both were, we were talking, but then for some reason we kind of stopped talking for a little while, and we both were dating other people and doing our own thing, and then I had gotten into a serious relationship with somebody, and I ended up falling for the girlfriend trap. But that guy had really been investing a lot into me and doing a lot for me, so I kind of felt like I had to agree to be his girlfriend, because he asked me multiple times, and I finally agreed. So after me and him broke up, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel like a family, the kind of family that I was wanting. So I ended up breaking up with him, and we were living together. And I just packed up my stuff and left. And it was crazy because the next day, my now husband, reached out to me and was like, hey, how are you doing? And I told him, I just got out of a relationship, and I kind of told him a little bit about why. And he was telling me oh, those are my boys. And he had genuinely really connected with my kids, and he was not the kind of man that was just be nice to them to get to me. It was very genuine. And that was one of the things that I really loved about him. That was something that stood out about him versus the other men that I had dated, was he really embraced the fact that I had children because he wanted children. And so, he was talking, my lease was going to be ending very soon, which is why I went ahead and moved in with my person that had became my ex. We started living together, and I told my husband, I was like, hey, it was so embarrassing to admit, but I was like, I need a place to stay because my lease is ending and I just broke up with my boyfriend, and even if it's just like for a couple weeks, it's okay. Just so I look for, somewhere else, because I had planned on needing to find somewhere else. And he was saying, well, if you're going to live with me, it's going to be as my wife, not as my girlfriend. And I was like, well, how spontaneous are you? And he laughed and he said, very spontaneous. So then I was like, right. So we started entertaining the idea of getting married.
She met this man on eHarmony. She was dating someone else, and then she felt because that other guy was doing so much for her that she should entertain him and move in with him and see how things are going with him. And then it didn't work out. So she ended up getting with the older man, which is now her husband. And I believe this all happened within a span of 2 or 3 weeks. So she was probably most likely been living with that other dude and then moved out and moved in with her current husband. And so I want to talk about the desperation. I wouldn't even call it desperate. I would call it moving fast. And I'm trying my best not to be mean, but I just feel like when you're being hypergamous, when you're dating, just because a guy is spending money on you doesn't mean that he's a good guy. Like, just because he's doing nice things for you doesn't mean he's a good guy. You have to allow yourself to take time to get to know people. I even do this myself. As someone that's single with no kids, I try my best to take time and get to know a person, because even when you think you know them, you really don't. And I feel like because she met him within 2 or 3 weeks, and then this dude is already talking about marriage with them living together, it's very much a red flag. Like, why do you want to rush so much? I know why you want to rush so much. It's because you can only maintain your representative for so long. The first red flag was eHarmony. The second red flag was him rushing. And wanting to move in. Like, she most likely should have been like, no. She should have let him spend more money on her, court her, treat her nice, get to know him, and before moving in. And this is why I say there's a desperation element to this and a rushing element, which is the same, it's in tune with the desperation element. It's because, going back to the single momness, in her mind she has to complete the family. She was on eHarmony. She's probably Christian or Baptist, religious. That makes it even worse. And I'm sorry in advance to anyone that is religious, but this is the truth. I feel like, especially in the Black community, when you are religious, being a wife trumps everything else. That is the pinnacle. That is the top. That is the trophy. Being the wife, not what it comes with, just the title as wife is what matters to a lot of Black women, and especially Christian Black women. And so I feel like you have the religion aspect, you have her being a single mom, and her this desperate need to complete the family, and it makes for a really toxic, messy situation, because you're jumping from dude to dude, moving like you don't have kids. Nobody should be moving like this. But I could maybe understand someone that doesn't have kids moving this way. I want to know, was her kids living with the current man that she was with, or are they with their father? I'm gonna wildly guess, because she's always been doing everything by herself, that her kids were living with that dude that she was with, and then she left him, and then she moved in with her now husband. So jumping from dude to dude, you can't really do this when you're a single mom. It's best to just focus on your kids. If you're gonna date, but don't let anyone know that you have kids. The reason why is because there are a lot of creepy people, a lot of predators like her about to be ex-husband in the world, and you never know. So it's just best to just take as much time as possible and get to know that person, slowly build a relationship with them before introducing your kids to the mix. And it's best to honestly wait until your children, I would say date and just wait until your children are of an age where they could advocate for themselves, where they could talk. Don't be running up and down with like little kids, jumping from dude to dude, like leaving the door open for a guy to randomly come in and take advantage of your child. It's honestly the truth. It's the cold-hearted truth. The truth is, when you're a mother, you have to move differently. You have to consider your child always. And I feel like a lot of women, especially young women that have kids at a very young age in their life, they want to try to regain some of their 20s, some of that youth that they didn't get to experience, which is like just being free and wild and partying even though they got a kid. And it's like, unfortunately, you have to be more cautious. Everybody should be cautious, but you have to be 10 times more cautious. Life isn't fair, but that's just how it is. So the fact that she went and moved in with this guy, and most likely she moved her kids in with this guy as well, is problematic. Okay, and let's talk about this need to rush things, like push things forward because of the guy, right? When you're like dating as a woman, you own the dating process. You own the speed of that relationship. Don't be with someone that you feel like is rushing you, because most likely they're rushing you for a reason. They're rushing you to get something out of you, mostly to control you. They're rushing you for a reason.
Coming on here and revealing that she just found out her husband has been abusing her two young daughters and that he has raped her multiple times throughout the relationship is so heartbreaking. Like, that is such a tragic situation to be in. And as sad as it is.
So I can't find...
I definitely understand it.
Yeah, but allegedly, like, he raped her a few times and she stayed. This was in the very beginning of the relationship. So that's really sad. Like, think of like the psychological toll that takes on you. Like, you're getting spoiled, you're getting treated great, you're getting everything you want, you're getting married, you're getting a ring, your family's complete, and then this guy did this to you early on, and you have to try to make sense of like staying with him because now you have a family and now you're pregnant, and it's insane. It's insane. My heart goes out to her. Like I said, this is really sad to have to go through. But one thing I am proud of her though, I am proud of her for pulling her kids out of that toxic situation, because there are so many women that would sit there and allow their kids to be abused and not pull their children out of that toxic situation. So I'm really happy that she did that. I don't know, she hasn't really updated us on anything else. If she's most likely gonna press charges and he's gonna end up going to prison or something, I don't know. But she already had so much trauma from her childhood, and then you even hear it in the beginning of her story about how she's rushing into things because the guys want her to rush into things and feeling like she needs to stay in situations because she has kids. So many women fall victim to that, and it's really sad. You know, honestly, I just really hope things get better for her, and I hope that, you know, I'm sure everything is going to work out, but it really is sad. So now I want to get into some of the narratives that are being spun on TikTok that I find interesting. So a lot of people are saying, well, on TikTok, well, y'all wanted this trophy type of life. Y'all wanted this to find a man with money. Well, you gotta know that not everything is free. You're gonna have to pay either way. Ha ha ha. If he's paying, you want access to everything type of thing. And they're like bringing up Shira 7 and all that stuff on TikTok. And I'm just like, a broke man could do the same thing. In fact, many women have been abused by their fathers, their uncles, their husbands, and they have been broke. So this type of thing can happen to any woman, any person, no matter if they have money or no matter if they don't have money. So I'm get really tired of people, and now to be quite honest, people in the Black community and how they have this black and white type of mindset on every single thing. Like, oh, you're getting spoiled, well, you're gonna have to pay for them bags either way. It's gonna be like, people are saying crazy things, and I just think it's insane. She said she listened to Shira. Nobody says, you listen to Shira, right? She gives very clear advice. Don't do certain things when you have kids. The rules are a little, like I said earlier, the rules are a little bit different. You have to consider your kids and really make sure that the person that you're with is a good person that has good character. And I felt like if she would have gotten to know him a little bit longer, because if he could do that to those two girls, he's done it to someone else. He's had to. And if he could do it to her, even before they even got engaged and married, then he could have done that to someone else. So, like I said, you really got to just do your due diligence and look into the people that you're dating. Do a background check. Meet his friends, meet his family, ask his friends, ask his family questions, that sort of thing. Like, don't just jump into a relationship with the person. I feel like because she did that, it never ends well. And so, unfortunately, that's what happened. And I really hope I hope she's actively seeking justice for her daughters. It's just really sad. That could happen to anyone. Money doesn't equal a good person. Being broke doesn't equal a good person. You could be a PDF file. By PDF file, you know what I mean when I say that. You can be a PDF file with money, without money. It's just, you could be we've seen it, there are religious PDF files. Like, people need to relax. The most important thing I would say is just to, like, especially if you're gonna move in this game, is you have to think beyond glamour, think beyond physical features. If you're gonna move in this game and be hypergamous, I feel like you have to get to know them, really figure out who they are on a deeper level, because while you're getting bed, if you move too fast, it can be this type of situation. And I just think it's really unfortunate, honestly. The level of embarrassment too, because she built a whole YouTube channel about it, and it's just like, I just felt like she probably felt that pressure to complete the family. I don't know how old she is, by the way, but probably the age too. She looks really young, but that could be also another pressure to, like, complete the family. Just drinking it's that Kool-Aid. Very beginning of the video where I showed a few clips, the first couple clips, she mentions this word, modern women, right? And that's kind of can circle back to, I feel like, her mentality, and that drinking the Black community Kool-Aid about their rhetoric regarding single mothers and how they don't see value in them, and how there's that stigma placed on them, even though it should be placed on the man that left, not the woman that stayed to raise the kids. So the reason why I feel like this kind of circles back, I feel like I'm in corporate, not me being a corporate girly. The reason why I feel like this circles back to her mentality and really kind of encompasses a little bit of how she thinks, and how I can understand why it was easy for her to fall into a situation like this, even though it can happen to anyone, is because of that word that she used, modern women. That word, we usually hear that phrase, incels on YouTube, incels on TikTok, of speaking point or whatever it's called, from Kevin Samuels days. His followers would use that to describe women, and a lot of incel men that do not like independent women will talk like that as well. They don't like women that are independent, that can make it on their own, so they usually talk like that. So I really believe that she had somebody in her ear, or she was listening to some man that was telling her about these modern women, and that's it's kind of like warped into her mentality. So I'm essentially saying that she's kind of male identified a little. Yeah, she is male identified. I can tell she's male identified. She is just a male identified woman that found Shira 7. She is a woman whose mentality is more inclined with the mentality of a man. And a lot of women start off this way in life. There's no type of, like, there's nothing bad. A lot of women start off this way based off of society, because society sticks their claws into young girls and tells them that, oh, do XYZ, you should take care of a man, especially in the Black community. That man coddling mindset runs rampant. It is toxic. It is like a cancer. Even if you look into some of the old music from the 90s, it's a lot of pick-me music. Kind of can understand a little bit more of her mentality from listening to the clips of her back and the use of that word that she uses, modern woman. That's incel language. And how she was talking about wanting a family, tired of being independent, all that stuff. There is nothing wrong with being independent. There is nothing wrong with making your own money, taking care of yourself, taking care of your kids, doing the right things for yourself. But in the crusty, dusty community, men that don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, probably living in their mom's basement, like to disparage and shame women that are doing better than them. That is the only reason why the term independent woman exists, is because there are men that like to shame women that are doing better than them. If these women have a job and they're getting their money, they're paying their bills, they're taking care of their hair, nails, they're keeping themselves up, then these men will shame them because of that, because they know they can't get those type of women. So they like to try to disparage them, to bring them down a peg. It's just like the single mother stereotype in the Black community. They know that they can't get even some pretty single mothers. They can't get them, so they want to try to bring them down. It's all about having easier access, and a lot of women are fed this Kool-Aid from a young age. Add on to the independent woman stereotype that also doesn't make any sense. One, they kind of want you to not be independent. You're shamed for being independent. But with dusty dudes, they get mad when you ask them for money. Like, they at the same time don't want you to ask them for money. So they don't want you to be independent, but yet they don't want you to ask them for anything. There are people that have this type of double standard in the community, and that's why I don't listen to anything that specifically Black men tell me. Like, I just don't listen to them, because it's like it's all just contradictions and it makes no sense. But the reason why I kind of know it was her rushing into the situation with him is because the math isn't really mathing. She said she was making $90K at the age of like 24, 22, something like that. And she was living with the guy that she was currently with before her husband, and then she moved in with her now husband. If you're making 90 something K, and I don't think she lives in New York, if she's making like 90K with 2 kids, she was doing okay. This is how I kind of know it was a little bit of desperation and wanting to just have a family, because she did not have to move in with the first guy, nor did she have to move in with her current husband right away, because you were making a lot of money. You could have just chilled, dated them, and got to know both of them, I guess, and see which one is like the best guy. And if you didn't like any of them, then date somebody else, you know, like, I don't know. So that's why I feel like it was a little bit more like she was desperate. She was desperate because of the whole stigma thing. And I feel like a lot of women fall victim to that Kool-Aid, that drinking of the Kool-Aid from the Black community. Like, I feel like I've been saying that a lot, and I don't even use that word like that in my lexicon. I don't really use drinking the Kool-Aid as my daily language. But no, oh, you need to get married at a certain age, you need to settle down, you need to have kids. If you have kids and you're not married, then you need to find a husband quickly. No, and find any kind of man. And no, I I'm here to tell you, not every guy that has money is a good man. I've dated trashy old like men with money, trashy, no character. And the reason why I was able to learn about these types of men is by time, getting to know them, going on dates, not doing anything with them, and seeing their character. And this is one of the things why you really should not watch other people and what they have going on. Like, yeah, I'll follow a few housewives, but I don't really follow them. I don't really look too much in depth into them because the grass isn't usually greener on the other side. You don't know what that person has going on. You really don't. You don't know how that man treats her, how she treats him, how she feels about them kids. You don't know. So this is one of the reasons why viewers, you as the viewer, should not measure yourself or compare yourself to someone that you see online, because it's very, very often what you're seeing online is not real. So to be honest, really, there are women that really feel like they cannot complete a family without popping out kids. You don't need to always have kids. Like, you don't, because now she's tied to this abusive man. She has 2 kids. She had 2 biological daughters with him that he was graping, essaying essentially. So now she's tied to him. You don't always need to have kids. You don't always need to have kids. Getting married, time, like, wait like a year, wait like 2 years. I don't know, wait, because it's like you never know. You never know. So a great example of what I mean when I say this is Meghan Markle. Random. I love Meghan Markle, but Meghan Markle did not have a kid with that producer that she married. She was with him for I think a year or 2. She barely was with him towards the end of her marriage. He was kind of like the come up husband, and I know she used him to get to the next level. I know for a fact. Meghan Markle is a smart woman, and I look up to her because you really do not need to always be popping out kids to complete the marriage. People, though, if more people would, and not just black women, but if more people would understand that when you start popping out kids, you're forever cemented with that other person, they would be less likely, they would think more before they actually do it. Like, unless you know without a shadow of a doubt that this man is the one, I wouldn't do it. And that's hard. That's a hard game to play. It's hard. It's hard to be able to tell if someone is a decent, not decent, it's good, isn't abusive. It's hard. It's not easy. And in a perfect world, we would all probably operate that way. But I would say, wait. If you're married, wait like a year or 2 or something. I don't know. I would wait. I'd wait. He old and he about to pass away. He ain't gonna give me much problem. No, I'm just kidding. Wait.